quiet of night, I whispered my plea, holding her close, hoping for her decree.
The leaf is still wet from the morning mist. I can hear the vendor's thumb pressing the packet closed, a small, quick snap, and the market breathes around us. A motorbike idles. A child asks for rice. A woman calls out the price. Listen closely. This is a sound I grew up with. Quiet stones, loud stories.
Hello, I'm Samnang Bradley, and this is Ancient Echoes KH. Today, we walk under awnings and sit on shaded porches to listen to Betel, Paan, and the conversations that travel with it. We'll meet a market seller who times her day by customers, an elder who remembers Paan at courtship tables and memorials, and a youth cooperative balancing tradition and hygiene. A quick content note. We'll describe cultural practice and etiquette, but we won't share preparation steps or recipes that could encourage unsafe behavior. If that sounds good, let's begin.
Let me add a little frame before we move into the market. From an anthropological standpoint, Betel has been a social binder in many Southeast Asian communities for centuries. It signals hospitality, marks relationships, and carries little social transactions, gifts, apologies, even marriage talks. Today, we'll use both voices and ambient recordings to show what that looks like in daily life.
Context Corner. What are we naming when we say Paan? In Khmer, you might hear slaw for the leaf, boo or poo for areca nut when people speak colloquially, and a pinch of lime powder that wakes the flavors. But those words are shorthand for a social practice, offering, refusing politely, and the choreography behind each exchange. We'll avoid step-by-step prep on purpose and include a brief public health note. Chewing areca and related mixtures can carry health risks. We include voices from local health educators in our show notes for listeners who want reliable information. Now, the market. It's dawn. The stall is under a blue tarp that smells faintly of banana leaves and dust. The seller I met, she calls herself a Paan auntie with a smile, learned to fold from her mother. She times the market by when the rice sellers finish their early contracts and when the school children pass by. If the students come, I know my day will be noisy but good, she told me, folding a leaf with practiced hands. Her fingers move like they've memorized the sound of each crease.
When you recorded her, Samnong, I remember how close Mike captured the wet leaf's slipperiness, that wet whisper before the fold. From a production side, those sounds carry meaning. They tell the listener about practice and care, not just ingredients.
Exactly. The seller described an apprenticeship that didn't feel like school so much as being watched and copied. She said, "You don't learn Paan by instructions. You learn it by being near hands that do it." She taught younger relatives for a small wage, and she buys leaves seasonally from a woman in the next district. But she asked us not to share exact times or GPS. Out of respect, we're keeping places general.
She also talked about customer relationships. A vendor like her isn't just selling a packet. She's holding neighborhood conversations in miniature. People ask after relatives, pass along gossip, say congratulations with a packet wrapped in a different leaf. The layers matter.
Anecdote, a woman came up, lowered her voice, and handed money. The seller folded a slightly larger packet, a sign of generosity, and whispered that the woman was visiting the family of a newly engaged couple. Gifts like that travel like small messages. The seller explained how refusal works too. If you don't want Paan, it's polite to smile and shift the focus, offer tea, or accept another small exchange. That social choreography keeps relationships smooth.
I want to highlight one cultural point here. In some ceremonies, offering Paan binds two families symbolically, but it's rarely coercive. Our elders emphasized consent. There's a language of saying no without offense, and that matters when outsiders are curious.
Learn the simple etiquette before you taste or photograph someone with Paan.
On a shaded porch later that afternoon, I sat with an elder who remembered Paan at negotiation tables, marriage talks where gifts were exchanged, and small packets accompanied promises. She laughed softly and said, "We used to say a packet is a promise you can carry in your pocket." Her eyes softened when she described memorial exchanges, where families offer Paan to guests as a sign of shared remembrance. Those packets carry taste, yes, but also memory.
She offered a careful caveat. The way Paan is used changes over time. Young people may fold it differently. Shops sell pre-packed versions, and public health messages shift how it's discussed. That intergenerational variation is what keeps the practice alive. It's not frozen. It's negotiated every day.
Between these portraits, let's pause and be in the place for a moment. Imagine a layered sound, the steady hum of market conversation, the crisp snap of a folded leaf, a distant temple gong that marks a passing hour. Think of it as a breath, a pocket of place where small talk and deep care exist side by side. Soundscape interlude. Hold that space. We'll let the market hum sit under this pause so you can feel the textures we've been describing.
When we return, we'll meet a different voice, a youth cooperative that is learning to package Paan with dignity and hygiene while paying vendors fair wages. They don't want to erase tradition. They want to make it safer and more sustainable.
The cooperative is led by a group of young women who banded together after a local health workshop. One organizer explained, "We wanted to keep what is good, the sharing, the work, and change what harms." They create a simple wrapper that protects the packet, label it with the vendor's name, and rotate profits so elder vendors earn a steady income. They asked us to share their model, not as a prescription, but as one community's approach.
From a production and community liaison perspective, this is the kind of partnership we like to highlight. Community-led solutions that respect tradition and include health educators. We made sure, and it's important to say this aloud, our interviews with them followed consent practices. They were paid for time, and they reviewed how we would portray their work.
They also shared a small dilemma. Some vendors worry that packaging will change the gesture, that a wrapped Paan feels less personal. So the cooperative seasons their approach with gatherings where vendors and customers can speak openly about what matters. That listening, the municipal equivalent of folding conversation into practice, is what kept me smiling in their meeting room.
Before we wrap, a practical takeaway for listeners who may visit Cambodia or want to support these networks from afar. First, ask permission before photographing a seller or a packet. Second, if you want to taste or accept Paan, let the host guide the interaction. Third, support vendor-led cooperatives or local organizations in our show notes, rather than seeking out exact stall locations. And finally, remember the health note. Chewing areca-containing mixtures has well-documented risks. If you have concerns, consult local health resources listed in the episode notes.
A travel tip I like: offer a fair price and a smile. Sometimes a small conversation over a packet can be the most generous currency in a neighborhood. If you want to support preservation and livelihoods, look for organizations that pay artisans and vendors fairly and that practice consent for storytelling. Don't be a tourist who takes without giving context or care.
And for fellow storytellers, if you record people, obtain clear verbal consent on air when possible, follow trauma-informed interviewing practices, and anonymize if a participant asks. Ethical practice is part of cultural preservation.
Closing thought: those little folded packets do something larger than flavor. They carry negotiations, consolation, courtship, rhythms of labor, and the choices of people who want both tradition and safety. I like to think of Paan as a conversation you can hold in your hand. If you enjoyed this walk through market awnings and porch talk, please subscribe to Ancient Echoes KH. It helps us keep recording local voices, pay our storytellers, and make episodes like this with respect and care. Visit our show notes for links to community cooperatives and health resources mentioned in this episode. Until next time, quiet stones, loud stories. Sam Nong Bradley. Listen, learn, belong.
Thank you for listening. Share this episode with someone who loves markets, intimate sound, or Cambodian stories. And if you have a memory about a packet you want to share, reach out through our website. We welcome voices that help this conversation continue.
Oh, shining diamond, flawless and rare, you stand so quiet, soft in the air. I dared not to rush you, feared you'd flee. Your heart too pure to belong to me. If you turn away, I reach and bind, press my hand, still body and mind. Your brows I trace, your breath I steal. This mark I place is dark and real. From this moment break and fall, hear the spell, obey the call. False love born from sacred lies, second one whispers through closed eyes. Follow me, don't fight, don't run, your soul is caught, my work is done. Empty will, your light undone, under spell, under Sigmund. Crystal beauty, diamond bright, caught between shadow, charm and night. Time won't save you, truth won't last. This vow is carved, the line is cast. My words are smoke, my touch is fire. I bend your heart to dark desire.